of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates of the Palestinian Authority, Vársen Aγκαμπεκιάν. It is an honor for us to have you in Militaire News for an interview. Thank you so much. We know
Thank you for hosting me.
You are very busy, and we appreciate very much that you give us some of your time to communicate and have this interview. So let's start with Iran. Suddenly, we have a new front. We don't know till when it will end. We don't know which will be the escalation. A few minutes ago, the Saudi Arabia announced that will retaliate if Iran continues to strike on its soil. So what do you foresee? Do you worry for the next days for what is going to come next? You have a big experience as a diplomat, an academic, a politician. So what do you foresee?
Well, the situation is extremely volatile, and any destabilization anywhere in the region means eruption of more violence, and the environment is escalating in a very, very quickly manner. And today we just hope and pray that diplomacy and dialogue prevails over any violence.
But till now, we see that diplomacy does not prevail, and we know from the information we have that the Iranian side was willing to withdraw to a lot of, its positions for the nuclear program. Despite that, USA and Israel decided to attack while the negotiations were going on. So do you fear that there will be long-term risks in the region, and also for Gaza, the West Bank, and the Palestinian issue, which can be the effect of this war and the escalation, possible escalation of this war?
Of course, any escalation instills a lot of fear. We've experienced wars for a long time, and wars will only bring more destruction. What is needed today is to stay hopeful that diplomatic avenues will take place, and discussions will start so that all of this is curtailed in as soon as possible.
And tell me something, that if the war continues, then we can see changes in the region. We can see really dangerous changes in the whole region.
Of course, I mean, wars will only bring more destruction and will bring more animosity amongst the different countries. What I worry about the most right now is also for my people in Gaza and the West Bank. I mean, Gaza should not be forgotten. The people in Gaza need a lot of help immediately, and any destabilization in the region will take the attention from Gaza and the West Bank somewhere else, and rightly so, because this is very violent, and there will be a lot of need in different places.
So there are analysts who say that even if there will be no regime change in Iran, the effect of this war can be the same with effects that after the collapse of the Soviet Union, so strong effect, I mean, in Middle East, in the region. So do you believe that it is a correct claim?
I believe that the escalation and the violence will bring a lot of changes. Those changes will affect many countries in the region, and we need to be ready.
So there are also voices who say that we are heading to a World War III. Do you also share this opinion?
We certainly hope not, because the world does not need a World War III, and we know what World War I and World War II resulted in. So a World War III with the weaponry that is used today will be devastating. So we need to try to instill as much as possible some sense into what is going on and move in the direction of talks rather than field confrontations.
Mrs. Minister, you are just expressing hopes, but what do you foresee? It is more possible, the continuation of this war with long-term risks and dangers?
Well, as is, we expect this to at least be taking place for some time, few days, maybe weeks. But as I said, the hope is that it is curtailed as soon as possible, because the longer it lingers, then the devastation is more and the suffering of the people is more.
Do you think that Israel thinks that it is a opportunity to get rid of Iran? That's why pushed Donald Trump to start this war?
I think this is a question to be asked to the Israeli side. I think Israel needs to think about its future in the region, and that future in the region entails Israel to become a normal state that can live in the region.
Yes. So you talked about the risk and the danger Gaza to be forgotten. To be forgotten if the war with Iran in Iran escalates. So tell me something right now, which is the condition in Gaza, and right now, which is also the condition in West Bank, where the settlers continue to do what they do, and the annexation of West Bank is in continuation, and nobody reacts, and the USA accepting that.
On the Gaza Strip, the situation is still extremely dire, because the humanitarian assistance is not entering to the extent that it is supposed to enter. The Rafah border crossing is not open the way it should be. I think very, very few people are able to leave or enter the Rafah border crossing. The destruction is still there. The killing continues. The injuries continue. The destruction of the infrastructure continues. So people are asking and wondering if this peace agreement was signed almost 3 months ago, and the administrative committee was formed. Why isn't something materializing on the ground? Today, people in Gaza want to eat, want to drink clean water, want to have basic services immediately, and all of this is not taking place the way it should be. On the West Bank, the situation is also extremely volatile, because the unleashed settlers are creating havoc everywhere. There is this creeping annexation, and now it has been officialized by the Israeli parliament, officializing the annexation of the West Bank. And we continue to hear the very loud voices by Israeli officials on this greater Israel and the infringement on the sovereignty of neighboring states. So all of this creates a lot of fear and a lot of outrage on the Palestinian side.
So which is your opinion about the Board of Peace, which took over, about the persons who are in the Board of Peace, first of all, and about the plans of Board of Peace?
The Board of Peace, we've accepted the Board of Peace because we wanted to, our priority was to stop the bleeding in Gaza. And there was no way for a Palestinian to say no to something that would do that. So we expect the war, the ceasefire to be a complete ceasefire. Today, it's not a complete ceasefire, it's a partial ceasefire. And we need to see that whoever signed this agreement moves towards the steps of the plan the way they should be. So we need some monitoring and accountability measures on all sides. We hope that, as I said, the administrative committee starts its work. As for the people, I think it's not only about the people, it's about the mandate. The mandate needs to be very clear. For me as a Palestinian, the mandate needs to be tied with something that is broader, something that says this will bring peace to the whole of the occupied Palestinian territory, not just for Gaza, but also includes the West Bank and East Jerusalem. And it's not just about the people, it's about the mandate.
Yes, the mandate, but the people, if you have on the head of the Board of Peace, Donald Trump, it's himself. This does not guarantee good perspectives for the mandate and the quality and the real meaning of the mandate.
Well, we hope that President Trump says what he sad to say. He says he wants peace in the Middle East, and peace in the Middle East entails the right of the Palestinians. And if this whole process takes us to a genuine peace, then we are with it. This is what is on the table today, and we need to make the best out of it.
So what about his Gaza plan it was written, it was presented by Kushner? Which is your opinion about this plan? Does the Palestinian principle accepts it and will participate in which way to the implementation of this Gaza plan?
Well, the Gaza plan is a plan for the Gazans, for the people of Gaza. And the Gaza plan should be Gaza friendly in terms of the terrain, the geography of Gaza, and the people in Gaza. Nobody can say no to reviving Gaza, but Gaza needs to be revived within the terms of a peace that is sustainable in Gaza and a peace that entails the rights of the people of the whole occupied Palestinian territory.
Yeah, so the Palestinian Authority will participate. We have the Palestinian representation limited in general, only right now at the Technocrat Committee under Ali Shaath. So we were expecting Palestinians to participate stronger and in a higher level. Right now, we see them just watching what Donald Trump decides, who Donald Trump wants to be in the Board of Peace or in the Committee of Technocrats. So what is really going on?
We have been raising our voices on the importance of Palestinians being part of the Board of Peace. Because if Israel is a stakeholder and is part, the other stakeholder is the Palestinians, and they should be part of whatever takes place in that Board of Peace. Today, we have the Administrative Committee. We have managed to create a liaison office that liaises between the Administrative Committee and the West Bank, reflected in the work of the Prime Minister's office. So we have a liaison office that will be directly working with the Administrative Committee. We will keep pushing for a more voice or a louder voice by the Palestinian side.
So right now, the Palestinian Authority communicates with Donald Trump's American administration. Do you have direct talks with them about what you? Yes,
there are some talks. There are some talks by our vice president, and he has been discussing with, for example, Kushner and Witkoff, and we will continue speaking through third parties, Arab countries, other supportive countries who are on the board, but we will continue pushing for our voices to be heard from our side and directly.
Did they ask you for the Gaza plan or not? They decided it.
Well, the Gaza plan, it will be decided alongside whoever signed the agreement. And we have our voice or our input towards our friends. There's Saudi Arabia, there's other Arab countries on the board who are very well aware of the Palestinian vision of Gaza or the Palestinian vision of the independent state of Palestine. And we hope that in the interim, they will take our points of view to the board.
So what about who will run Gaza at the next day of the war, of when all the Gaza plan will be implemented and will be in a final stage? So have you talked with Mr. Kushner and Witkoff if the Palestinian Authority is the authority who will take over and run, and which will be the role of Hamas? Because till now, Hamas has not been, demilitarized, first of all. It's very important to know which will be the role of Palestinian Authority and who will run finally Gaza, because it seems that Israel will run Gaza. And Israel will take over West Bank.
No, if you have read the points of the plan, it says that the administrative committee will be doing the work on the ground, the day-to-day work on the ground, but this is a multi-layered plan whereby decision-making is made on several layers. This committee will be liaising with the West Bank, with the Palestinian Authority, because I believe all have come to terms with the idea that nothing can transpire on the Gaza Strip without coming back to the West Bank, because even with the simplest things that you need to do, you need to come back to the core, such as with population registries, with the education system, with the healthcare system, and so forth. And in the plan, it says that this might lead us or will take us to a genuine path towards peace, whereby the Palestinian Authority would come in and take over. But of course, they said about the reforms in the Palestinian Authority, which we are already doing, not because the plan asked us to do it or any other country asked us to do it, because we are in the process of developing our state, and we worry about how our state is managed and how our organizations are managed. In terms of role of Hamas, Hamas has said that it will not have a role in the day after. And if Hamas wants to be part of the Palestinian political structure, it needs to become part of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, the PLO, because the PLO is the umbrella of all Palestinian political factions. And as such, it can become a part of the Palestinian political spectrum.
So you are not opposing to the participation of Hamas, but it has to be under the umbrella of PLO to accept
yes,
that.
and as a political party, not as a military faction. Of course, because our president,
yes,
our president has made it very clear. He said one state, one government, one administration, one system, and one weapon. Because that weapon needs to be part of the state makeup, not in the hands of political parties. So yes, Hamas needs to be part of the PLO and as a political faction.
And it can become a part of the PLO even if it was not before that demilitarized?
It says if you want to become part of the PLO, you will be a political party, not a military faction.
Okay, so tell me something. What can stop the settlers? Because now we are talking about an ideal situation and perspective for Gaza and for West Bank, with the central role of the Palestinian Authority. But what will happen with the settlers? Because every day new crimes is being recorded. New crimes, and we see that they are being intensified and they're being escalating, and nobody stops them. And it has become, as you said, an official policy of the Israelis to annex the West Bank. So what are you going to do with that front, which is right now the hottest and the most crucial?
We will continue raising our voices in international platforms and asking for international law to be implemented. What will stop settlers is for settlers to be obliged to stop. As per international law, many things are stopped all around the world, and stopping settlers should not be any different in occupied territory, because everything settlers do in occupied territory, as per international law, is null and void, and it is illegal. And there are many resolutions to that effect, and there is the New York Declaration that says we need to take care of whatever the settlers are doing. And we have the ICJ ruling that clearly said that settlements and settlers need to be stopped, and this occupation needs to be dismantled. At this point, settlers need to be obliged. If there is no accountability and there are no measures to oblige them, settlers will continue doing what they have been doing for a long time.
You talked about the international law, and we see that we enter in a new era where the international law means nothing for nobody. In fact, Donald Trump, who is the strongest man in the world, is really doing the opposite of the international law. We saw what he has done to Venezuela. We see now with the war in Iran. We see now Cuba is under his threat. Because of his threats, Panama broke its connection with the Hutchison Hong Kong, company for the two harbors. So we entering in a new era where there is no international law. So if nothing can stop the settlers, then what do you foresee what you can do?
Look, despite all the threat on international law, yet international law exists. The world has not given up on international law, although there is defiance of international law and it is under threat. And it's better to continue having a compass of international law rather than having nothing and chaos. We will continue talking about international law because that's the only law that governs until now.
Which are the initiatives that the Palestinian Authority takes this period for also for the front of West Bank and also for the Gaza plan and all the perspectives for the Gaza? Which are the main initiatives that you take, the steps you take right now?
Well, we are continuing our efforts, the diplomatic efforts on international platforms. Our priority today is to have our people steadfast in the West Bank and in Gaza Strip. So that means finding whatever means we have, whatever support we can get to ensure that people can eat and continue steadfasting. Because if the people cannot steadfast and we are forced to or kicked outside, then there isn't much to cling to. So the priority is to ensuring that we steadfast in our country.
I read that if the Gallup show that if elections were held, then the Palestinian Authority's percentage will not be so high. On the opposition, the Hamas percentage would be higher. How do you analyze this result?
Look, these are speculations and nobody knows what the situation is on the ground. What is important is for the Palestinian people to be able to elect, to exercise the right to elect, and the democracy will unfold and bring us whoever needs to or the people wish to govern in Palestine. So we should all work towards elections and we should oblige the state of Israel to allow Palestinians of East Jerusalem to elect.
So one last comment, please, Mrs. Minister, for the Iran front right now and your fears of it.
I hope that all of this stops as soon as possible because this destabilization is bringing more destruction to the area.
Palestinian principal will communicate with the leadership of Iran for that or not?
I think we will communicate through whatever international means we have and international platforms, just like the rest of the countries of the region.
So thank you very, very much for this interview and this conversation.
You're welcome.